My own daughter paid a doctor to say I'm crazy, and I'm staring at our wedding photo on the wall, remembering every second of the day Ray proposed, mind sharp as ever. That's how it all kicked off. I'm Betty Callahan, 72 years young, right here in Willow Creek, Ohio. I still bake apple pie from scratch every Sunday, flaky crust that could win the county fair. This little yellow house on Maple Lane? It's been mine since '79. The porch swing creaks the same rhythm it did when Emily swung on it. Reading Nancy Drew till the streetlights buzzed on. Last Tuesday they showed up unannounced. Emily, my 45-year-old girl, divorced and tangled up with this slick Derek who reeks of cheap cologne and cheaper lies. Trailing behind was his cousin, Dr. Harlan Voss. Tall, skinny, smile that never hit his eyes. Claimed he was a geriatric specialist from Cleveland. "Mom, we're worried," Emily said, eyes welling up like a Hallmark movie. "You forgot the water bill." "Twice." "I didn't. Every receipt's in a shoebox under my bed, labeled neat by month." But before I could open my mouth, Voss whipped out a clipboard. "Just a quick memory check." I counted backward from 100 by sevens, nailed it. Drew a clock at 3:15, perfect numbers, perfect hands. Named the president, the season, my birthday without missing a beat. He scribbled, shook his head. "Signs of mild cognitive impairment." Emily gasped like I'd been handed a death sentence. That night, I dug out the water bill, paid on time, stamp and all. Next morning, knock at the door. Sheriff's deputy. Thick envelope. Emily was filing for emergency guardianship. Said I was a danger to myself and others. Attached was Voss's report. Claimed I couldn't recall the year, the month, or what a fork was for. Pure fiction. I stood in my kitchen, coffee turning cold, gripping Ray's old war medal from Nam. My hand steady, my mind crystal clear. I glanced out the window. Derek's black SUV idled across the street. Emily in the passenger seat, staring at my house like she'd already hung her curtains. And right then I knew they weren't here to save me. They were here to lock me in a box while I was still breathing. I didn't sleep a wink after that sheriff left. Just sat at the kitchen table under the same yellow light Ray installed in '82, staring at those court papers till the words blurred. My own daughter. My Emily. Dr. Voss came back the very next day, Emily hovering like a shadow. He brought flashcards, a puzzle with missing pieces, and this little beeping gadget that sounded like a smoke alarm with a grudge. "Repeat after me. Apple, table, penny," he said, voice smooth as pond ice. I repeated them, clear as a bell. 10 minutes later he wrote in his notebook, "Subject unable to recall any of the 3 words." I saw it, plain as day. That's when I started keeping Ray's old fishing journal by my side. Every visit, every word, every lie, I wrote it down. Date, time, what I had for breakfast. Proof I wasn't slipping. Wednesday afternoon, Emily forgot Voss's medical bag on my counter. I unzipped it when they stepped out to the porch. No stethoscope. No blood pressure cuff. Just a fat stack of pre-filled evaluation forms. My name typed at the top. Boxes already checked. Severe dementia. Unable to manage finances. Risk of self-harm. I snapped photos with my flip phone before she came back in. "Mom, you're snooping," she snapped, snatching the bag. "I'm remembering," I said. That night I couldn't shake the chill. I crept downstairs in my robe and slippers, and there was Derek in my office, flashlight beam dancing over my safe. "Looking for the deed, son?" I asked, voice low and steady. He jumped so hard he knocked Ray's purple heart off the shelf. It clattered like a gunshot. "Just organizing papers," he muttered. I locked the safe. Changed the combination to Emily's birthday. The one day she can't forget. Next morning my bank called. Someone tried to move $50,000 from my savings. The request came from Emily's email. Timestamp 3:14 a.m. I drove myself to the library, yes I still drive just fine, and printed every statement. Every dime accounted for. Then I searched online for Dr. Harlan Voss, geriatric specialist, Cleveland. Nothing. No license. No hospital. Just one blurry photo from a 2018 high school reunion, standing right next to Derek. I sat in the parking lot, engine running, hands finally shaking. My daughter wasn't worried about my memory. She was erasing it. And then I saw the for sale sign hammered into my front lawn, with a lockbox already dangling from the doorknob. Saturday morning, the screen door creaked and there stood Lily, 17, ponytail swinging, eyes red like she'd been crying all night. My granddaughter's always been my shadow. Helped me plant tomatoes every May. Licked the pie spoon clean every Sunday. Graham, she whispered, slipping inside before Emily's car even turned the corner. Mom says you're moving to a home. That you signed the papers. I hadn't signed a darn thing. She pressed her phone into my hand under the table. A text glowed on the screen from Emily. Tell Grandma the doctor says she can't live alone. Make her believe it. Love you. My throat closed up. I pulled Lily into the pantry, shut the door. You with me, baby? She nodded so hard her ponytail whipped. I knew something was off when Mom asked me to practice your signature. Said it was for birthday cards. We made a plan right there between the flour and the canned peaches. Lily would listen, watch, snoop. I'd play the confused old lady. That same night Voss showed up again, unannounced, clutching a pill bottle. For your anxiety, Mrs. Callahan. One at bedtime. I palmed the capsule, thanked him sweet as pie. Later I crushed it under my fingernail and mailed it to an online drug testing kit. Came back benzodiazepines, enough to knock out a horse. Lily texted me at 11:07 p.m. Pic attached, Derek and Voss at Rusty's bar. Blueprints spread on the table. My house. Red circles around the garage, the backyard, the safe. I started recording every visit on my flip phone. Tucked in my bra like a second heart. Got Voss clear as day. Guardianship hearings Monday. Judge owes Derek a favor. Once she's declared incompetent, we flip the house by Christmas. Your cut's 20%. Emily's head snapped up. She heard the tiny click. Mom, what are you doing? Documenting my perfectly sound mind, I said, smiling like I used to when she missed curfew. She lunged for the phone. I held it high. Years of kneading bread dough gave me arms of iron. The doorbell rang. I opened it to a perky realtor in a red blazer, clipboard in hand, a young couple behind her clutching a pre-approval letter. Mrs. Callahan? Your daughter said you're ready to list. These folks love the porch swing. And there, taped to my front door, was a shiny new lockbox. Keys already inside. By Thursday they were acting like they already owned the place. The realtor, Tiffany, blonde ponytail, smile bright as grocery store toothpaste, bounced up my steps with a young couple trailing behind her. Mrs. Callahan, your daughter said you're ready to downsize. This sweet family just adores the porch swing. I blocked the doorway with my body and 30 years of stubborn. Funny. I'm not selling. Tiffany's smile faltered. She flipped open her folder. But the contract. I snatched it. My signature stared back at me. Shaky, crooked, wrong. I'd know my own handwriting anywhere. That loop on the Y wasn't mine. That was Lily's middle school practice sheet. Emily appeared behind me like a ghost. Mom, you're confused again. You signed it last week. I turned slow, looked my daughter dead in the eye. Emily June, you taught your own child to forge my name? She didn't even blink. That night I called the Ohio Medical Board from the landline. No Dr. Harlan Voss. Ever. Called the Bar Association. Derek wasn't a lawyer, but he was drowning in six-figure gambling debt. Lily had already hacked Emily's laptop. Kids these days. She slid me a flash drive over Meatloaf. Emails between Derek and Voss dated months back. Guardianship hearing fast-tracked. Judge plays golf with my old fraternity brother. Once the old bats declared incompetent, house hits market in 30 days. You get 20%, I clear the debts, Emily gets the rest. They even attached listing photos, taken inside my house while I was at the beauty parlor. Next morning Voss showed up with a court order for a home safety evaluation. Marched through my room snapping pictures of clutter. My knitting basket, raised medals, 40 years of memories. He knocked my wedding album off the shelf on purpose. I followed him with my flip phone recording in my cardigan pocket. Dr. Voss just deliberately damaged personal property and called it evidence of hoarding. I narrated calm and clear. He spun around, face finally cracking. You're delusional. No, sir, I said, patting the phone. I'm documenting. He left in a huff. I waited 10 minutes, then crawled under the kitchen table with a flashlight. There it was, tiny black listening device, stuck to the underside with duct tape. Red light blinking like an evil heartbeat. I left it right where it was. because now I had proof they were terrified of what I might say next. And tomorrow was the guardianship hearing. Friday morning, Willow Creek Courthouse. Smells like lemon polish and old lies. I walked in wearing my navy Sunday dress. Raised pearls, hair pinned so tight not one strand dared move. My knees didn't shake. Not once. Emily's lawyer, cheap suit, cheaper soul, stood up first. Your Honor, Mrs. Callahan is non compos mentis. She is unable to testify or even understand these proceedings. The judge, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, nodded. Noted. Proceed. Emily took the stand. Tears on command. She leaves the stove on, wanders at night, forgets who the president is. We're terrified for her safety. Then Voss swore on a Bible he clearly never read. Flash fake brain scans on the big screen. Arrows pointing to severe atrophy. I knew those images, same stock photos I'd seen on Google when I looked up migraines last year. He finished with a sad little shake of the head. Advanced dementia. Immediate institutional placement required. The judge looked like she was about to sign the order. That's when Lily, my 17-year-old granddaughter in her only blazer, shot to her feet 3 rows back. Objection! She called, voice cracking but loud. The bailiff started toward her. Young lady. I have new evidence. Lily held up a USB drive like it was the Olympic torch. Direct from Mrs. Callahan's attorney. I didn't have an attorney, but the judge took the drive anyway. She plugged it in. My voice filled the courtroom, clear, calm, furious. Voss on tape. We flipped the house by Christmas. Your cut's 20%. Derek at the bar. $500,000 easy. Old Bat won't even know. Emily on speaker. Just keep the pills coming so she stays quiet. Video of the forged power of attorney side by side with Lily's handwriting practice sheet. Close-up of the listening device under my kitchen table. The jury gasped. One woman dropped her purse. Emily went ghost white. Voss tried to stand. The bailiff already had cuffs ready. The judge's gavel slammed down so hard the water glasses jumped. Case dismissed with prejudice. Dr. Voss, you are under arrest for perjury, fraud, and practicing medicine without a license. Deputies, take him. And Miss Emily Callahan, you're not leaving either. Emily lunged for the side door and tripped over her own heels. I stood up slow, smoothed my dress, looked the judge right in the eye and recited the Gettysburg Address. Every single word, no notes. And when I finished, the whole courtroom was silent. Except for the sound of handcuffs clicking shut. The courthouse doors hadn't even closed behind me before the sky cracked open with camera flashes. Reporters, neighbors, even the cashier from the IGA. Everybody wanted a piece of the pie lady who beat the scammers. I just wanted a cup of coffee in 5 minutes without somebody crying on my shoulder. Emily screamed the entire way down the marble steps. Orange jumpsuit already half-zipped over her clothes. Not sorry. Not yet. Just wild like a cornered animal. You ruined my life. She kept yelling while deputies dragged her to the van. I stopped on the bottom step, turned and looked her dead in the eye. No, Emily June. You tried to bury your mother alive. I just refused to stay in the coffin. Then I walked away. Didn't look back. The next 10 days were a whirlwind of headlines and casseroles. Front page of the Willow Creek Gazette. Local grandma exposes $500,000 guardianship fraud. CNN picked it up. Good Morning America left 3 voicemails. I let them all go to the answering machine that still has Ray's voice saying, "You've reached the Callahans, leave a message after the beep." The investigation tore them apart like tissue paper. Voss, real name Harvey Dunkel, had his fake medical degree printed at a Kinko's in Toledo. Derek owed $192,000 in offshore gambling debts and had 3 active warrants under 2 aliases. Emily had been quietly moving $1,400 a month from my Social Security into a secret account titled Maple Lane Renovations LLC. They already had paint swatches picked out for my kitchen. They'd even toured nursing homes. One brochure was still in Emily's purse when they booked her. Sunset Acres, Memory Care Wing, $6,200 per month, Medicaid pending. That's where they planned to park me while they flipped the house. I sat on my porch swing the night the story broke nationwide, eating cold apple pie straight from the tin. Lily came out wrapped in one of Ray's old army blankets. "Graham, you okay?" I looked at the stars, same ones Ray and I counted on our honeymoon. I'm mad, baby. Mad I didn't see it sooner. Mad I still love her anyway. Lily leaned her head on my shoulder. What happens now? Now, I said, setting the empty pie tin down. Now we live. I changed every lock in the house, 3 deadbolts, a keypad, and a camera doorbell that texts me photos. I had the bank reverse every fraudulent transfer and slap a fraud alert on my name that'll outlive me. The prosecutor called it the cleanest elder exploitation case in county history. One afternoon, a delivery truck dropped off a brand new KitchenAid mixer, courtesy of a viewer in Tennessee who said my story saved her mother from the same scam. I cried over that one. Emily's plea deal came through on a Thursday. 12 years, no parole for 8, in exchange for testifying against Derek and Voss. The prosecutor mailed me the paperwork. I signed where it asked if I wished to make a victim impact statement. I wrote 3 pages. Read every word aloud in court. Told the judge about teaching Emily to make pie crusts with cold hands and a light heart. Told them about the unicorn sticker still peeling on her old bedroom door. Then I told them what it feels like when your child looks at you and sees only dollar signs. When I finished, the courtroom was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning hum. And then the mailman left the first letter. Prison postmark, Emily's handwriting, 1 line on a single sheet. Mom, I dream about your apple pie every night. Sentencing day came on a cold Tuesday in February. Snow on the ground, sky the color of old dishwater. I wore the same navy dress and race pearls, because some battles you finish in the same armor you started with. The courtroom was packed. Reporters in the back, Lily holding my hand so tight her knuckles went white. Emily shuffled in wearing orange, ankles chained, hair flat and lifeless. She looked 40 years older than the girl who used to beg for one more chapter of Little House on the Prairie. Derek went first. Took one look at the judge's face and folded like a cheap lawn chair. Pleaded guilty to everything. 5 years, no parole. He wouldn't meet my eyes when they let him out. Voss, Harvey Dunkel, tried to play victim. Claimed he was just a struggling actor between jobs. The prosecutor played the recording of him laughing about flipping the house by Christmas. 8 years. He started crying when the gavel fell. Then Emily. The judge asked if she wished to speak. She stood, chains rattling, and looked straight at me. Mom, I'm still your little girl. The whole room went still. Even the court reporter stopped typing. I rose slow. Walked to the little podium they set up for victims. My voice didn't shake once. Emily June Callahan, you stopped being my little girl the day you paid a man to drug me so you could sell the house I raised you in. You taught your own daughter to forge my name. You stood in my kitchen and looked me in the eye while you planned to lock me away like an old dog nobody wants. I pulled the unicorn sticker out of my purse, the one I peeled off her childhood bedroom door the night before. Held it up for the whole courtroom to see. This is what I have left of the daughter I thought I knew. Then I let it fall into the trash can beside the podium. 12 years, Your Honor, I said. Make it the full 12. The gavel came down like a church bell. Emily collapsed sobbing as deputies lifted her up. She kept screaming, Mom, until the doors closed behind her. Outside, snow had started falling thick and soft. Lily and I stood on the courthouse steps while cameras flashed. A reporter shouted, Mrs. Callahan, do you forgive her? I looked up at the gray sky and let the flakes melt on my face. Not today, I said. Maybe not ever. But I'm going home to bake a pie, and I'm going to eat every bite in my own kitchen, in my own house, with my own mind sharp as ever. And that's enough for now. We walked to the car. Lily opened the door for me like I was 90 instead of 72. I laughed and told her I could still outrun her if there was pie on the line. As we pulled away, I saw the prison transport van disappear in the opposite direction. And for the first time in months I didn't look back. Part 8. The House Stands Extended Final Chapter. Word count. 712. Spring came early that year. The tulips Lily and I planted along the walk exploded red and yellow. Like the house itself was shouting, I'm still here. I never answered Emily's first letters. Or the second. Or the third. By the 10th one the envelopes were thinner, the handwriting shakier. I started a new shoebox just for prison mail. I told myself it was evidence, but really it was the last thread between a mother and the daughter she used to know. One Saturday in April, the mailman handed me a thick envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph. Emily on visiting room phones, hair in a severe bun, orange jumpsuit too big for her now. On the back in pencil, "I taught my cellmate how to make your pie crust today. She cried when it came out flaky. I did too. I miss you, Mom. I'm so sorry I forgot how to be your daughter." I sat on the porch swing until the sun went down, rocking slow, photo in my lap. I didn't cry. I'd done my crying months ago. But something in my chest loosened just a little. Lily graduated high school in June. Valedictorian. Her speech was about the quiet strength of women who refuse to be buried. Half the town knew exactly who she was talking about. When she walked across the stage, I stood up and hooped louder than anybody. Ray would have been proud enough to bust. That fall she moved into the dorm at Ohio State, pre-law full ride. Before she left, she hung a new sign above the kitchen doorway we painted together. "This house runs on love, pie, and evidence." I kept baking. Started teaching Tuesday morning classes at the senior center. Pie crusts and self-defense in the same hour. The ladies call themselves Betty's Battalion. We've already stopped 2 other guardianship scams in town. One woman brought me her dead husband's war medal and said, "Hold this for me till I'm safe." I keep it on the mantle next to Ray's. The blog blew up. Willow Creek Wisdom hit 300,000 subscribers. Sponsors send stand mixers, Dutch ovens, even a new porch swing when the old one finally gave up the ghost. I give most of it away to women's shelters. The rest I use to buy coffee for the sheriff's deputies who stop by just to check on the pie lady. Some nights I still wake at 3:14 a.m., the exact timestamp of Emily's $50,000 transfer attempt. I pad downstairs in my robe, touch the war medals, make sure the alarm is armed. Then I brew a cup of chamomile and sit at the kitchen table where the listening device used to be. The house creaks around me like an old friend saying, "I've got your back." In November the prison called. Emily had earned a compassionate visit, good behavior, teaching GED classes to other inmates. I sat on the question for a week. On the day of, I wore the navy dress one last time and drove myself. We faced each other across scarred formica. No glass between us this time, just a guard in the corner. She looked small. Older. Eyes the same blue as the day she was born. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said before I could speak. "Good," I answered. "Because I'm fresh out." Silence stretched. Then she slid a folded piece of paper across the table. A recipe card. My own handwriting, photocopied. Apple pie. The corner was worn soft, like it had been held 1,000 times. "I teach this one every Sunday," she whispered. "They all say it's the best pie they ever had." I stared at the card a long time. "I brought you something too." I reached into my purse and set down a brand new pack of prison stationery envelopes and a book of forever stamps. "So you can keep writing," I said. "I'll keep reading." It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was a door cracked open, just enough for light to get in. I stood to leave. At the door I turned back. "Emily June?" "Yeah, Mom." "Next time you teach that crust, tell them cold hands, light heart. And tell them the woman who wrote it is still living in the yellow house on Maple Lane. Mind sharp. Door open. Pie hot. They wanted my house, so they tried to steal my mind. But I buried the evidence under my porch, walked into that courtroom at 72, and won back every single thing they tried to take, including the right to decide when, and if I ever let them back in. The house stands. The swing creaks. The pie cools on the sill. And Betty Callahan is exactly where she belongs.